What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
And today on The Great Debaters, we're getting to the Wu-Tang Clan, Ironman. Great Debaters. So Amir, today on The Great Debaters, we're going to be going through a little Wu-Tang, Ghostface Killah, Ironman album. Now to me, this album always kind of gets overlooked because after the phenomenal 1995 where we had Raekwon, Old Dirty Bastard, and Genius drop three of the best albums of the year, all in the same year, and all in the Wu-Tang solo albums, I think it was just a phenomenal run from the Wu. And then in 96, the only album that came out was the Ghostface Iron Man album, which we're talking today about the three best songs on there. And I think Ghostface, in my opinion, has the best discography of Wu-Tang Clan members, but I think Iron Man, even though it's his first album, I think people look at Supreme Clientele and some of the other projects he's put out, and oftentimes I think don't revel in the mastery that is Iron Man. So Amir, in your opinion, what are your general thoughts of the Iron Man album?
Well, it's very good. I mean, it's another one where one thing that makes me very, I respect Wu-Tang Clan a lot, clearly, but one thing that makes me respect them even more is, as you can see on the cover, it's got Ghostface, it's got Capadonna, Raekwon. It's clear that Wu-Tang is a family, especially at this time. They're making all their music together. They had no problem passing the mic around. It wasn't, this person's a mic hog or this person's above the rest. On the album it says, featuring Capadonna and Raekwon. Even Raekwon has the first verse on the album. So I think that when things are so selfless, it just shows. And this album, it's more of a collaborative project than just a Ghostface project. Just like how Only Go for Cuban Links was. Right. Ghost and Ray and the Wu members and etc. So I like that a lot. But getting into one of my three.
Okay.
Track 2, Wildflower, has to be one of them. One of the shorter songs, maybe the short. No, I don't think it's the shortest, but one of the shortest songs on the album. I never seen the movie that it samples. I think it's JD's Revenge or something to that of that name, where the woman and I saw the video, the clip on YouTube, and I thought it was so funny of the woman laying in bed and then the guy who I presume is a pimp dressing up, and then he gets to a fight with the husband. But anyways, the song itself to start off like that, and Ghostface's lyrics started off and saying he held her down in malls, she worshipped his dick like a cross, he long dicked her, broke the ovary. It's just the things that Ghostface says, the picture that he paints in these songs, these stories that you can't even, I don't know how this guy makes this stuff up, or who knows, maybe they're true. But especially the ovary line, I think is so funny because years later when they were making his his action figures, toys, one of the commercials, which you should look it up on YouTube, when you click the button, it says, "Remember when I long dick you and broke your ovary?" I think, first of all, let me tell you something. I have 4 of those dolls. Not one of them works. I've clicked the button on all of them. I've changed the batteries. I've never been able to hear a working doll. So that's very upsetting. But anyways, Wildflower has a ton of gems on it. It hurt him that this woman would give his pussy away while he's on tour and whatever, and just the things he says, if you're dry, spit on the dick, put it in, the washing machine's on spin, it's just,
right.
It even makes the biggest hoe call rape. It's just ridiculous, bro. It has to be one up there. It's
very, very crass, I guess is a good way to put it. But it also, in addition to everything that you said, I also thought it was interesting that he's so angry toward the woman for doing him wrong, which I thought was interesting because normally, in rap songs, it's really just focusing, not always of course, but a lot of the time it is focusing on the sexual prowess. So for him, even in the midst of all of that, to say that she was doing him wrong and doing all this other stuff to him, I thought it was interesting. So that was a very startling early track on the album, and despite really there's of course, no bad songs on this album, but it's not one of my top 3. And, as we look at Iron Man, I think one of my favorites, and it's the perfect combination of the sonics and the beat, is Assassination Day. So that one, because I've always really thought that Inspector Deck is probably the most unheralded member of the Wu-Tang Clan, and I think on this track, he and Ghost in particular, I think, are amazing, and just Inspector Deck's style and his phraseology and how he, approaches songs kind of from this very different way than the kind of very illustrative, imaginative way that Ghost and even Raekwon do. Inspector Deck has a different style of his imagery and a different way that he approaches it, and I think he's just phenomenal on there. And then Ghost, of course, is phenomenal, but the beat on Assassination Day to me is so good that that may be my favorite beat on the album. I just love it.
Oh wow, damn, big praise. And that's not one that I hear a lot of people talk about, so I wasn't expecting that one from you, but it is good. And like you said, there aren't any bad songs. And just a little thing I want to say out there too, the original pressings do have the song The Soul Controller. So if you haven't heard that one, look that one up. That's another great song. Not one of my picks, but I just want to say that one out there. And I forget if it's a CD pressing that only has Marvell, which I think it is. Maybe the vinyl too, they repress. But if you haven't heard that one, check that one out too. Second pick for me.
Okay.
I don't think you would assume that I'd pick this one, but it has to be All That I Got Is You. Just because I know on this show a lot of people probably think I don't like the female choruses and all that. But,
we don't think, we know.
But Mary J on the album version, Mary J does so well. And I think Papa Wu's Closeout is also great, but
phenomenal.
Ghostface, who's sampling the Sonny Carson movie quite throughout, like a lot of the songs on this album. He also starts it off on this one. The instrumental really sets the tone. It's very different from the rest of the LP.
Right.
And talking about the imagery that we were hearing in Wildflower, we hear a lot of imagery here, but obviously on a very different mood. And it's very sad, and it's, I feel like this song kind of gets forgotten in the midst of, like the Dear Mamas,
right,
or the Hey Mama, Kanye, Dear Mama, Tupac, and all the other mother songs. This song should be up there. How he's talking about living in a house of 15 people, how 2 at the feet, 2 at the head. He didn't like to sleep with Johnny peed the bed. These are like things that growing up, at least I didn't have to deal with. So it's things to be grateful for, things that you don't think about. He had to pluck roaches out the cereal box. He asked Mommy, where's the toilet paper, use the newspaper. Like, it's kind of funny, like, when you hear that, but it's reality. It's sad, knocking on the door, asking for food and money for your neighbors. It's sad, it's reality, it's what he went through, it's what a lot of people like him went through, and probably in the Wu-Tang went through. So I think it's something that's very important. The instrumental was perfectly suited, and Mary J really, really was essential to this song and what I think Ghost was trying to capture. So this song, I feel like, is a must, and it's definitely one of my favorite songs in Ghost's catalog altogether.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I'll pick, that one is one that I would really put in the top 3, but I want to discuss some other songs too. But that song is phenomenal for all the reasons that you named, and I also think it's important to show Ghost does this throughout his discography, but it really shows his ability to tell these stories that are very heartfelt and insightful and have some very personal touches, but then also speak to larger societal ills, and not in a super preachy or whiny complaining way. He's doing it more as like, this is stuff that I went through and had to deal with. And pairing with Mary J. Blige, to your point, I thought was great. I love like you were saying, the sample and the piano, it just really brought out a different side of Ghost that we had seen prior to Iron Man, because, you know, he was mysterious, and then with especially Only Built for Cuban Links, you know, there was a much harder album that didn't have the sonic touch that we get on All I Got Is You. Now, for me, I liked other songs as well, equally as much, and one of them is Box in Hand, because Method Man and Street on there, dude. Like, Method Man is one of those guys. Yes, he had probably the biggest selling or best selling album in Wu-Tang solo career history with Takao, but I think people still kind of don't realize how ingenious Method Man is, and his lyrics are just so amazing and so clever. And Box in Hand does that again, and with Ghostface and then Street Life Street on there, it's just, dude, that's one of those lyrical gymnastics songs that whenever I listen to it, I just get a smile, and it's just so good. You know, what all of them do, and again, like you were saying at the beginning, it's just so good to hear. Yeah, these aren't quote-unquote Wu-Tang songs, but the way that they're able to, you know, bob and weave and stick and move and get on other people's songs and still make it definitely feel more Ghostfacian, but still add that Method Man element to it. I thought it was amazing.
Correct. And Method Man is too just one of those rappers who I wish his solo career was, you know, a little better, especially after Takao, the original, got lost in the flood. But he's someone who will always bring it on a feature, man. His feature resume is really impressive. Like, just look back at the features he's done, and you're like,
yeah,
wow,
it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty great.
So, what's your third pick, Amir?
So my third pick, I was battling between Daytona 500 and Iron Maiden. And what really edged it out for me was the Force MDs. And the Force MDs on Daytona 500 I thought was such an excellent touch. I thought the intro, the little singing, little harmonizing, bringing in the sample was just super awesome. And their chorus is just great. So that's the reason I picked that over Iron Maiden, because for me those are really, really kind of neck and neck. Raekwon starts it off, and this is one of those songs that I'll admit I don't know exactly what they're talking about the whole time. I just don't. There's a lot of that. A lot of that with a lot of like Ghostface songs where I really have to just sit there and I can't be distracted. Like, I can't be driving. I can't be organizing. I can't be cooking or cleaning or whatever. I have to just be listening. You know, and I try not to look up the lyrics. I try and just get it. But then sometimes I just have to, because I'm like, what is this guy or these guys saying? Capadonna's verse is the easiest to understand in this one. But just some of the things, and it's also cool because it challenges your brain. It challenges you to take in that environment, that try and learn all the slang, all the jargon, all the brands that they mention, or certain things that should be easier to understand, but maybe your head's in a different space. I like that, you know. Staten Island slang and what have you. So that's one of those songs that for me was a little harder to understand, but it challenged me to understand it. But Daytona 500 is just, it's so good. I love the pace of the song, the instrumental, the Force MDs, and the three guys on the cover delivering awesome verses. So it has to be one of mine.
Well, I think the three guys on the cover are on one of my other favorites, Fish.
Ooh. That's a good one.
So Fish, I remember it was so startling when I first listened to the album, because I remember that beat in particular was the one that stood out to me as the best beat on the album. And when I looked at the credits, I was like, wait a minute, RZA didn't even do that. True Master did that? I was like, oh my goodness. So Fish, to me, is one of the best, if not the best beats on the album. Is definitely phenomenal. And it just, I think it has a special place in my heart because it showed how, as brilliant as the RZA was during this run, there were other people also that were delivering sonically. And of course, for those that know and read credits, Old Dirty had produced stuff on Wu and done different things. But this one was just very shocking to me, and it just has always stood out to me for that reason. Sonics alone. Like, I like the raps, and I think the verses are all, you know, good and shouting out eating fish and all this other stuff. But the beat is just so amazing to me, and then just shocked me.
Dude, I'm shocked that we did not pick a single song the same.
Well,
I don't know if that's happened before.
Well, All That I Got Is You is probably should be one of my top 3 because it is such an amazing song. But this was a rare album where the songs that didn't have the stories like that or didn't have those personal touches, while I resonated and connected with those in a lot of ways, for some reason the beats and the lyrics and the styles of the other songs just hit me harder, which is unusual, but that's how it is with Iron Man. So there it is.
Hey man, it's a 17 songs on the original CD version of just excellence, so.
No doubt about it. But those are my picks and Amir's picks. What do you guys think? Be sure to hit us up in the comment section, like, subscribe, and share Unique Access Entertainment and Rappin And Snackin, and pick up your Rappin And Snackin gear if you haven't already, and head over to BigHerc.com to get that Unique Access gear as well. White, navy, and black shirts for those that are wanting those. But I'm Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
Great debaters, y'all.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the DOC, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.